Good afternoon. This is Flabonga Monthrothacube. My name is Dale Rodriguez, and with me today I have Sarah Hunt of Fruitful Accounting.
Hello, Dale. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming. Like I say this to everybody, it's the guests, it's the people that join me for this that make this show, because if it's just me sitting talking to myself, it's not very entertaining, and it gets very dark very quickly, if I'm honest. So yeah.
Oh gosh. Well, I'll bring some lightness. I'll bring a ray of sunshine and niceness as well. I'm a nice biscuit.
Of course. Yes, that was your answer to my question, So thank you for that. First question. What does FCA stand for? You've got it after your name. What does that mean?
FCA. Okay, I thought you were going to say FBA then, because that's the one I'm more familiar with. So FCA, a chartered accountant, fellow of chartered accountants. So it's like ACA. It's the ICAW one. But FCA just means I'm old.
Oh, cool. Is it so it's the same kind of qualification, but it was called something different when you graduated, or?
No, it is ACA. So the chartered accountants. But when you've been a chartered accountant for, I think it's about 15 years, you get to be an FCA, a fellow.
Wow.
So it literally just means I've been a chartered accountant for at least 15 years.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
So we used a lot of acronyms there. What do some of those mean for the people who aren't in the accounting space? You said ICAEW.
Institute of Chartered Accountants for England and Wales.
Whoop, whoop. Thank you.
And basically, gold standard.
Ooh, controversial. Is it the gold standard? Sorry.
No, I was going to say there's a few. You've got ACCA, you've got the AAT, SEMA, yeah, the management one, which is perhaps the more practical one. But I remember when I was looking into it, the ACA, which is the chartered accountant one, that was seen to be the gold standard anyway, with the hardest exams, and those exams were hard, for sure.
Sorry, I'm getting distracted by the comments. Darren Glanville is on. I don't know. Do you know Darren at all?
I don't know. Maybe.
That's cool.
Hi,
no, he's a really cool guy. So he's been in the accounting fintech space for 10, 15 years. Worked for Xero, worked for an accounting firm. Has he worked for Xero? No, wait, let me double check that. And he now works for Fathom. I don't know if you heard of Fathom Reporting. Great tool. He's like one of their gurus. He's a very cool guy. And he likes my content. So thank you, Darren. I have to give him a shout out, by the way, because I have a Patreon page. So he's subscribed. Yeah. So thank you for that, Darren. In fact, I was going to say talk amongst yourselves, but it's just me and you while I change a few things on the show. But I should have done this before. Okay. So we now know what FCA stands for. Thank you very much. You specialize in bookkeeping and accounting for Amazon vendors.
Yeah.
Correct. Why Amazon vendors specifically?
It's pretty niche, isn't it? So, I got to think of the quickest way to explain this. So I've been a chartered accountant for a long time. I started accounting back in 2004. And then in 2017, I had my first daughter, and I had a really horrendous maternity leave. I'm not going to lie. We won't go into the details, but the first 6 months I had 6 deaths in some way, shape or form to grieve. And I think it was one of those points where I really just reflected on what I was doing. And I knew I loved the tax and accounting thing, but I just wanted to try something new. And I saw this advert for Amazon selling on YouTube, and I just went for it because I was in a pretty low place. And I'm just like, right, I want to try anything right now. So the end of my maternity leave, I started selling on Amazon. And it was the most fun I have ever had trying to make money. And short story long, I guess, to get to where I am now, I fell in love with the Amazon business model and the Amazon sellers and the people in that community that I met. And I realized when I was doing it, this is really fun, but it's also really risky. And it's really complicated from a bookkeeping and a VAT perspective. So when I decided I wanted to launch my own business, I was just like, I'm going to focus on this because I know that these people need specialist help. And I know that these are the people that I love working with. So even though it sounds super niche, and it is niche, I mean, I don't just do e-commerce, I do Amazon. And it's not even just Amazon, it's Amazon limited companies who are based in the UK.
Right, okay.
There are thousands and thousands of people who fit into that particular category. So So yeah, so I love it. It's an industry that I love, and it's fun. It's always changing. You never know what Amazon's going to do next or what your competitors are going to do next, and that keeps it interesting.
So I have two questions that have just popped into my head. First of all, shout out from Darren Glanville. That's the power of working in a niche. So I think you've made a fan, Sarah, by the way. I think Darren's now.
Yay.
Yeah, no, he's a really cool dude. You guys should connect on LinkedIn and have a chat. So I have two questions. I have a serious question and a joke question based on what you've just said. Which one would you like first?
Serious.
Serious. When it comes to fintech and working with online retailers, e-tailers, you said you focus only on Amazon. Mm-hmm. There are a suite of apps and specialist services that link to Xero, QuickBooks, etc., etc. Which one do you prefer and why?
So I like Link My Books the best, and I've tried and worked with a few of them. So there's A2X, there's Aurelia. Some of the other accountants out there have actually used the Amazon API, the Finance Amazon API, and come up with their own software. Mm-hmm. But Link My Books is great because it was developed with the UK marketplace in mind, and it doesn't break the bank. And the journal that it creates, if I'm getting a bit technical, the data that it throws out makes a lot of sense. It's really well tailored to our marketplace. So I love that one.
Cool. I'm going to ask you a question that I've asked many accountants before. Can you explain or describe what a journal is? Because you mentioned it, but I'm intrigued. Your definition.
So a journal is working out what your transactions, so what happens in your business, how it needs to be shown in your accounts. So for example, if you are going to buy some stock to sell in your business, when you buy that stock, you are losing cash and you are exchanging it for stock you can sell. And those two things, so your cash needs to go down and your stock, which is an asset, needs to go up. So a journal will be the number that pushes cash down and stock up. And then you make a sale and your stock goes down and your cash goes back up, hopefully by more than you spent on the stock. So that would be the next journal.
Thank you for explaining. So when I, a layman, non-bookkeeper, uses Xero to do some bookkeeping, every time I'm reconciling, QuickBooks and other things, am I making journals when I do reconciliations?
You are, yeah. So the reconciliations, if you're doing your bank rec, then it's the one side of your journal is cash, which will be going either up or down, depending on whether you're spending or receiving money. And then when you're reconciling it and telling it, okay, that related to advertising, or that was a sale to someone through Patreon, that you're telling it the other side of the journal, because journals always need to balance. So you've always got something going up and something going down by the same amount somewhere.
And hopefully if it's cash, it's going up.
Hopefully. But, you know, you do generally need to spend some at some point.
So I've been told. Okay, now, silly question based on your Amazon stuff. Who is more likely to be a supervillain, Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk? They're both powerful men, they're both wealthy, they both have agendas, they both get good or bad press depending on who you speak to. Who's more, what's the word? Malevolent.
I don't know. So Elon Musk really fascinates me, to the point where, like, I don't know, why is he trying to send us to Mars? I don't get it. Like, if we need to expand our population somewhere, we've got Antarctica, we've got deserts, we've got under the sea. There's so many uninhabitable places on our planet. Why are we going to Mars? I don't know. So I've got a lot of, I think it might be him. Jeff Bezos is just an incredibly talented businessman. I mean, yeah, I've got some friends who are Amazon sellers who have like a carbon cut out of him, which is a bit of odd. I think it's for marketing purposes, so they can look like.
So if I had them on a live, they would have like the cardboard cut out behind them.
Cardboard.
You said carbon. That's cool. Is it life size?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I wonder if he's made himself taller in cardboard, because like powerful people like to do that, don't they? They make themselves look better when they're rendered in art. That's cool.
Yeah, cool. They're both interesting characters for sure.
Oh, you're trying to you're taking like the PC way. You're not going to say which one's more evil or more likely to destroy us all.
I don't know that Elon is evil. I think, he's just done a lot of really impossible things. It's to create an electric car, no one else has been able to do that. And to be able to send a rocket into space, didn't he do it for like, I can't remember what the number is.
Something like a tenth the cost. A tenth of the cost of like NASA. Yeah,
and
he
made
did
it reusable. And like, yeah, I can't comprehend some of the things that he does and how he's done them. It just seems to be one impossible thing after another.
Cool. Thank you for humouring me, because that was a silly question. I have another silly question, or would you like a serious question next?
I really don't mind. Okay, go silly again.
You have 2 children. Which one is your favourite?
My favourite girl is my daughter, and my favourite boy is my son. They have different characteristics. They probably have a different favourite each day, but I'm probably never meant to have a favourite ever.
So I've been told. Is it true that the second child is always more rowdy than the first child? Is that true?
Oh gosh, no. In my case, no. My second.
So the first one was.
He's mega chill. He's independent. He can play by himself. He's his own man. He needs personal space. If he's like next to me in bed, I get beaten up because he wants space. My daughter, she wants her like nose touching me at all times. No concept of personal space. It sounds kind of sweet for a while, but then a few weeks ago she did that, and I turned my head away from her because I didn't really want her nose on my face. And then she sneezed in my hair, and it was about 5:30 in the morning as well, and it was a wet sneeze. Oh, rank.
That's so gross.
So at that exact moment, my son was my favorite.
Yeah, and rightfully so. Hopefully she knows. I'm going to steal a question from Darren, because he actually wrote a serious question. So I'm going to put it up and I'm going to read it out. So Darren Glanville has said, with the power of social media, especially TikTok promoting Amazon FBA, have you seen an explosion in the numbers of customers coming to you?
So, I mean, TikTok is a really interesting one. I'm still struggling with TikTok because every time I go on there, I just feel like it's an absolute car crash. And obviously TikTok's got its own shop as well. So TikTok shop is a whole realm of e-commerce where I could potentially get clients from. But so my business, Fruitful Accounting, is super, super new. So I'm not doing loads of marketing yet. So my customers are generally, to be honest, they're coming from Instagram and Facebook. Is where I'm finding them. But TikTok is certainly growing, and I need to pay attention to it soon. I think in the next 6 months, I'll definitely be going over there. But we're seeing an explosion in the number of people who are doing Amazon FBA. And that has been happening for 5, 6, 7 years. Every year it's getting bigger and bigger. I know. I mean, my data is quite old, but to give you sort of a serious-ish statistic, I think back in 2021, we had 350,000 UK Amazon sellers. That is first party and third party. So first party being people who are selling to Amazon, and then third party who are selling through Amazon. But it's huge. It's huge. I think it's still bigger on YouTube than it is on TikTok. And I need to work out how to navigate TikTok properly. Because I keep coming across #accountants, and they're not accountants.
Oh, why are they not accountants?
Because it means something else on TikTok. But I think the word. Yeah.
Sorry.
Are you being?
I'm not being sarcastic. Because I don't use TikTok ever. So like, if I put accountant, what is it? I'm not trying to be. Is it like a rude thing on TikTok?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah. So #accountant on TikTok basically means OnlyFans girl.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, but I think there is one. Finance TikTok, I think, is the more appropriate hashtag. So I think, and a lot of marketers will say this, when you're starting out a business, you really would need to focus on one social media, and you need to nail that and really get that right, rather than doing a scattergun approach of doing all of them. And there are so many now as well, because as well as Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok, we've also got Lemonade, and there's another one out as well.
Oh, I lost a track years ago. Like I've honestly, I've never used TikTok. I have Instagram, but barely use it. I'm old. I don't understand.
Yeah. So when I set up my brand, I grabbed the handle in as many places as I could. I couldn't quite get Fruitful Accounting on Twitter. I think I had to be Fruitful Account, because Fruitful Accounting is a Christian accounting practice that looks after pastors in America, or did. I may message them at some point and say, "You're not doing that anymore, though, are you? Can I have the handle?" But yeah.
And they'll say, "How much for it?"
Like, can I tithe it, please?
Darren has said, "Don't go there." #accountants. So again, he knows, he's done the research. Sorry, that's not me implying that he's gone and searched for OnlyFans models. I'm just saying, like, he's obviously aware. I don't want to insult him.
Well, that's what my feed is effectively full of when I go on there, because my profile will say that I'm an accountant. So I need to tidy it up. But I think the point I was trying to make was there are so many different social media platforms, and I started on LinkedIn back in October, because I thought a chartered accountant probably, for social proof, I would have a LinkedIn account with at least 500 people on there. And then I was going to go to Instagram, and then I was going to go to YouTube, and probably do it in that order. And then TikTok is under that list. But yeah, so not there yet, but we'll look at it.
Cool. What is an Amazon FBA? I've never heard this phrase before.
So FBA stands for Fulfillment by Amazon. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can sell through Amazon. My favorite is something called private label, which is where you basically have created a product, whether you've either done it from scratch or you found a product that already exists and you've thought of a way to improve it, and you build your own brand around it. So your own branding, maybe you trademark it, and you're selling something under your brand and your name. And I love that, because people are trying to differentiate and they're trying to offer a solution to what customers need. And then the other models are things like arbitrage, so retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, where you're buying products, say from your local Superdrug or online, that are on sale and that are cheap, but by moving them to Amazon, where there is just such a greater population of people who have access to it, the prices are higher and you can earn profit that way. So both of those are FBA. Which means you send the products into an FBA, an Amazon warehouse, and Amazon will send them on, fulfill your orders for you.
Wow. Okay. That sounds pretty cool. I'm tempted.
It is cool. It's so fun. It's so fun to do.
It sounds like hard work.
Oh yeah, it is hard work. That's kind of what I love. And I was thinking about this before we chatted, because the whole Flabonga Monthrothacube, your idea is that this is a laid back live stream. What?
Yeah, you said it so well. You said it better than I do. That was incredible. Sorry, please continue.
No, it's okay. Two things on this. One was, I've decided this is like the Lionel Richie of podcasts, because it might take you a while to get this. Well, my friends, the time has come. Familiar with the song? Tomboli di say de moya.
Yeah. I'm thinking of Dancing on the Ceiling. I'm thinking Easy Like Sunday Morning. I'm thinking of All Night Long.
That one, right?
There you go. Thank you.
Tomboli di say de moya bit. That doesn't mean anything. That means nothing in any earthly language, and yet it still communicates effectively to all of us the desired intention to party all night long. Flabonga Monthrothacube doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. But when we hear it now, we're thinking, oh yeah, the laid back live stream. And the laid back bit is great, and you're going to have to bring that, because I know some people are like horizontal. They're so laid back, they're horizontal. Me, when I get into Amazon mode and work mode, not so laid back. I should probably come with some kind of steep gradient warning, but yeah.
But presumably that personality trait is something you need in your role or in your job, just by the very nature of it, because it's quite fast paced. There's attention to detail involved, I can imagine.
And that's what Amazon sellers are like. So they're so hardworking. They are grafters. I mean, I get messages 11 p.m., midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. People are working on their Amazon businesses, often because it's a side hustle. But even if it's not and it's their main thing, they are so passionate about what they do. And Amazon throw them so many curveballs as well. That it is just really, really fun, particularly when, I don't want to say it's fun when something goes wrong and then you somehow get to resolve it. Like you get that 1-star review that was fake, you get that wiped off, or Amazon give you a massive VAT refund because they got your VAT all wrong, which also happens. I know that happens a lot.
It happens way too much. But yeah,
so it is pretty intense, but it is really fun having your own business. And I guess I'm trying to get that now with the Fruitful accounting, because I would love to continue being an Amazon seller. So I still have a professional Amazon selling account, I do, as much as I do CPD for tax and accounting, I do CPD in Amazon. I'll watch the Amazon Seller University videos. I'm on the seller forums. I'm in the Facebook groups for sellers. I do all of that stuff because I find it so interesting and it changes so much. But
I had no idea you were so hardcore. That's a level of intensity I did not expect. You seem so chill when we messaged before, but you're like proper like type A, like that's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah. I mean, I am ex Big Four, so that's pretty intense background as well.
EY, right?
EY and PwC. So I trained at PwC.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And I was
kind of a big deal. Nice.
I was 14 when I decided I was going to become an accountant and go to PwC. So
I assume they didn't take you age 14 though, right? That sounds illegal, right?
No, I think I was 20 when I started in audit there. Yeah, I did a year in audit.
Okay.
But
when you did audit, did you specialize in a particular sector, or was it just literally just audit?
No, I mean, I did specialize. It was only a year. It was a placement year when I was at university, but it was in public sector. So I was in like hospitals, housing associations all over the country. And I fell in love with the culture at PwC and absolutely did not fall in love with assurance. So I moved to tax pretty quickly.
Cool. For the uninitiated, you mentioned audit. Now, I know the difference. What is audit accounting versus tax accounting? What's the difference?
Audit is checking all the numbers. So I like to think of it, and I read this somewhere once, and I thought it was really funny. Bob, like how you would explain auditing to a 6-year-old child. Bob says he has 50 cookies. The auditor checks that Bob is being honest, and we count the cookies. Yeah, we make sure all the numbers are right. And the tax side is just a bit more, I guess, it's complicated on the tax legislation and the tax rules, making sure that the companies pay the right amount of tax and that we're disclosing the right amount of tax in the accounts.
Cool. Sorry, I have to give a shout out to Randy House. He's my brother from another mother in the USA. He says, "Oh my, I show up," and David, I think he means Dale, is singing. He's right, I was singing. It wasn't my best effort. So Randy, what does Randy do again? Randy, if you could let us know what you do. Sorry, I know what you do, but like live without seeing it. He also does a lot of cooking like I do. Like he's posting lots of food pics, which I never used to like on social media. Like, I used to hate when people like would go out and take a picture of their dinner. But for some reason on LinkedIn, I'm like, oh man, there's some people out there who can do some serious throwing down in the kitchen. So I appreciate his posts, if I'm honest.
Decent.
What's your signature dish if you're trying to like impress, or you're trying to seduce your husband? What are you cooking for him? What's the one that you show off with?
I've probably got a handful rather than one. This is one of my biggest issues with cooking. So I do genuinely love cooking. My son is allergic to tomatoes and strawberries. So I feel like he's 3 years old. I feel like the last 3 years, I've basically had to relearn how to cook, because my throwdown dishes, or whatever you want to call it, like is things like lasagna, cottage pie, shepherd's pie, moussaka, all that stuff, like the good hearty food. And he can't eat any of that. So
how allergic is he? Like, if he has a tomato, will he die, or is it like puffy?
No, thankfully it's not that serious. It's just 12 hours later there will be a lot of diarrhea, like a lot. And it's the same with strawberries. So that was fun to find out when we were weaning him. But yeah, so now instead of doing like Italian style meatballs, I'll do a Swedish version of meatballs, which is like a creamy gravy sauce as opposed to a tomato based sauce. And I'm pretty good at making cottage pie without tomato in it. But okay, so we've got people coming this weekend. Dishes on the menu are beef brisket, so slow cooked beef in the oven. Yeah, I'll be in there for 5-6 hours, just falls apart. Love it. It's super easy to do in advance as well, and then just serve it up. Maybe we'll have that with some like ciabatta and salads and cheeses and stuff. I've already made a lasagna. Again, that's just something I can knock up in advance, and you bung it in the oven and it doesn't take away from entertaining people. I'm going to do like a stir fry, so there'll be noodles, loads of stir fry with things like bamboo, water chestnuts in for crunch and different flavor, and then I'll do a big salmon to go with that. And I'll make a sauce with like soy, ginger, honey. I've got one of my friends is a beekeeper actually, so I get raw local honey, which is really good.
That's awesome.
So yes, I think that's probably the variety of cooking that I'm doing this weekend. I've got a house of about 9. So yeah, I love entertaining and having loads of people over.
Cool. That's very, very cool. Sorry, I need to give another shout out to Randy. He's explained what he does. He does automation and a wannabe chef. Yeah. I also have to give myself some self-promo as well. On the top right of the screen, right or left, I don't know. I've got a QR code. I've started a little Patreon page. If you like what I do, please throw some money at it. I don't know. We'll see. It's either that side or that side. I don't know. Like, this might be mirrored for other people.
It's above me here.
On my screen, it's that way. But I don't know.
Yeah, we're playing the same way.
I can move you that way, and then it's
it's still there. It's still over there.
Okay, still over there. Yeah, fine. That's not the point. Oh, Kofi's here as well. Kofi, he's a cool dude. Morning, Kofi. Oh man, if you go on his website, Kofi, let everyone know the name of your brand, by the way. He started his own fashion label, just like from scratch. And like, if you listen to his origin story as well, like he's got like a 1-minute video on like where he came from, why he's done fashion. Like,
okay,
it's dope.
Have you got much orange in there, Kofi?
You know, I've looked at some of his designs. I'm not gonna not as much orange as you might like, sozzles. But yeah,
it's all right. There's always time. And are you selling on Amazon?
I see what you did there.
Shopify is good. I mean, the data that Shopify throws out is far, far, far easier to work with and understand than Amazon. Because obviously, like when I say I just focus on Amazon sellers, and I do, that's my sort of niche. Amazon sellers, most of them will be selling somewhere else as well. So Shopify, Etsy, WooCommerce, they're on the other platforms too. It's just Amazon is the one that's more technically complicated from a bookkeeping and a VAT perspective.
Also, when I asked you about the different apps that you like for Amazon and bookkeeping and accounting, you didn't mention Dext Commerce.
I didn't mention Dext Commerce. Nope.
Not a fan of Dext Commerce? Not feeling it? Not your thing?
I think I just got happy with Link My Books. Link My Books was developed by 2 ex-Amazon sellers, and I know Dan Little. I know him. I know the solution that it provides. It's just brilliant. I feel like I don't need to go anywhere else. I will have a look at Dext Commerce. But the Amazon sellers and the other accountants I know that work in this space, I don't know anyone who's using that one.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Just to be clear, you're not sponsored or endorsed by Link My Books in any way, shape, or form, right? Just because it's all impartial advice and
impartial. I'm not sponsored or affiliated with anyone, but Link My Books and Xero is the 2 that I use that all my clients have to have.
I've been looking for sponsorship for this show, but I've realized that no one's going to sponsor me because I'm pretty much agnostic when it comes to tech and software. So like, you know, Xero or Dex might go, yeah, we'll have our logo on there, but I'd be like, yeah, but auto entry does it better. I wouldn't say that, by the way, but I wouldn't actually say that. But yeah, I'd say outlandish things. Okay, so I'm going to go into work mode real quick. The problem with tech is there is no silver bullet. And what is best for one particular practice, if we're talking about accounting, is not the best for another particular practice. Same for business. So what people have to do when they're looking at these different stacks that link to their finance function is find 5 things that they need to have, 5 things they'd like to have, and then assess the market accordingly. So what Creston Reeves considers best, because we've done an OCR evaluation, may not be what you find best, because our firms are different sizes, we're in different locations, completely different client types. So there are things that some will do that are best of breed in terms of speed of processing, but speed of processing isn't always everything. So which one do I like the most? Not going to say, but yeah, when I joke about saying one's better than the other, like it really depends on your business, and the same can be applied for, I don't know, mail servers and other stuff. Some people, you know, Apple Macs and regular PCs, like they do different things, but they're both computers. All right, I'll get off my soapbox now. I think I waffled on long enough. Again, more stuff going on in the chat. So there you go. Kofi's giving you shout, Sarah. Love your vibe.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, you're pretty cool. I mean, orange is a little bit overrated. I would argue that yellow is better, but there we go.
The thing is, though, Amazon's color is #FF9900, to quote the hex key, which is orange.
I love that you know that, by the way.
Yeah, I had to start with it, and also in color psychology, which I'm not really into, but I wondered why Amazon chose orange. Orange means buy, so it does hopefully prompt people to buy. Yellow is a great color as well, because yellow is like the last color that leaves your eye, and it really stands out. And I used to work for Selfridges for a while, which was yellow and black. And their marketing was really, really strong, and their bags certainly stood out when people were walking around with them. But yeah, as somebody who's in the Amazon space, I had to go with orange. I had to.
I just like bumblebees.
You like bumblebees? They're cool too. They're cool too. But also, orange kind of links to Fruitful, right? Because we've got an orange. See?
It's a tenuous link, and you know it.
Not tenuous. It's absolutely not tenuous.
It's so tenuous.
And a fruit.
I'm aware it's the color of a fruit, but like I think there are more fruits that are not orange than there are orange fruits. No?
I have not done a survey on that, but I like the orange fruit.
You like orange.
And
it's your business.
Color, I like orange since I started a brand that's mainly orange.
Look, Sarah, you don't have to justify yourself to me or people viewing this, all right?
I do. That's what I'm here.
You don't have to justify yourself.
To explain the passion and the excitement, and to yes, I did, Darren. I did.
You've just got a new fan in Darren. You got the hex key.
That's going to make people love me, or just be like, what? But
I mean, I think it's very, very cool, but I am not the arbiter of coolness. If I think you're cool, it means you're a geek. So very, very sorry.
No, that's okay. That's good.
Yeah.
But,
so I'm trying to get a look at your background, because I like asking people stuff about their backgrounds. So you've got.
There's an orange F somewhere.
There's an F.
Like the LED tube lighting. I'd love it to say sort of Fruitful or something on the wall behind me, but when I saw that it would cost about 350 quid, I loved it less. So for now, it's a £12.99 LED F from China. Yeah, Leet. Yeah, we need to get onto Leet.
We need to get to Leet. Let's get onto Leet. Or what's?
Come on, let's have a seamless segue to Leet.
Into Leet. What would you like to know about Leet? I mean, you read it perfectly.
What is Leet?
Do you know about it already? Am I teaching you to suck eggs, or do you want me to kind of explain?
No eggs being sucked. I have no idea. In fact, I have gone as far as to not look it up, because the first thing I think we talked about when we were going to have this conversation was that you were going to explain it to me in this chat.
Cool. Darren, thank you for bringing that up. So, Leet speak, in my opinion, is one of the crowning achievements of the world. I exaggerate a little bit. So, back in the day of online gaming, specifically World of Warcraft, years and years ago, before it had all the expansions, to get a character to a certain level, I think the level cap was 50. That's how strong your character is. You'd have to have elite gear. Elite. Someone abbreviated that to elite. And it kind of became internet slang. So if you played any other game, World of Warcraft, something completely different, not even online games, and you got really good at it, you could say, I'm elite. You played FIFA, I'm elite. You had the best score, right?
Okay.
Then, where English has become a dominant language in business and around the world, you get lots of different nationalities typing in English. And this is before broadband, by the way. So like things like games like RuneScape that are really old. So you couldn't have audio. There was no Discord. There was no microphones. You'd have to play the game and type. So people would have to abbreviate certain things. And it became a bit of a thing. Like you could replace certain letters to make the sounds or to make a word. So leet, for some reason, the unwritten rule is like 3 is always E. Now it's evolved a little bit like slang, but essentially there's certain rules that are kind of unofficial but don't get broken. And certain words and things get used, or letters, to speak in a certain way. So like, I don't know, when you beat a boss on a video game, you could say, I own that boss, if you like did it without losing any health. And that's, there's loads of, that's essentially what elite speak is. It's changing some of the letters in words in English to numbers, and then also using slang words from the internets with a Z.
Okay, got it. Okay. Like the cryptocurrency hodl, which means hold, because someone mistyped it once and then it just became a thing. And everyone says hodl. Yeah,
things like that. Literally just things like it became a thing. Again, Darren's corrected himself. Actually, I should have written 133.
I would have struggled to get that reference, Darren, but yes, I now follow.
But again, see, both of these, neither of these are wrong. Just one is a little bit more elite than the other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that make sense? Happy to expand upon this.
Yeah. So can I be leet at Amazon?
You can be the leetest of the leet.
Yes.
I mean, to be honest, you're the only Amazon accountant / bookkeeper / finance guru that I know of. So, as far as I'm concerned, you are the most elite of them all.
Awesome. I'm not going to name drop all my competitors, but there are a few others doing it, and they're all ex-sellers as well. Like I think that's quite important if you are looking for an accountant. If you're an Amazon seller and you're looking for an accountant, finding someone who is a seller, who was a seller, will be so helpful, because the complexity of how Amazon works, only sellers really understand it.
I'm intrigued. So you say it's quite a niche thing, and it definitely is. When it comes to the reporting and forecasting for an Amazon seller, is it different to what a stereotypical limited company would need?
The reporting definitely is, because the main issue is that in e-commerce generally, and particularly with Amazon, they make one payment to you every couple of weeks, but Amazon track over 400 different events is what they would call them. So that one payment is comprised of so many different things, and some of it will be in the UK, some of it's out of the UK. There's a whole bunch of different VAT things going on with it. So the reporting, it needs something like Link My Books really to break it down. But then the extra level on that, which is where it gets really serious, is that you can't just rely on a third-party software using, Amazon's finance API and just cross your fingers that that's broken down your payment into the 10 correct categories and attributed the right number to your sales. You really need to be able to sense check it all and understand it. So the reporting bit is, it's intense. And the forecasting as well. Amazon changed the pricing. They changed the way the prices are calculated nearly every year. So like in the last year, we've had fulfillment fees. So you get things like storage fees, fulfillment fees, and referral fees is sort of your main three. And they used to do it all based on unit weight. And they've just brought in this concept of dimensional weight as well, which can make forecasting, you'd need to change all your forecasts basically. Because if you're selling something really light and something really big, it's going to cost you a lot more.
Thank you for explaining. That was going to be my question. What is dimensional weight? Hey, does that mean Amazon are going to stop shipping me like SD cards in like a massive box? Because we've all had this, right? Like where you order something and it's like, I don't know, the size of a mug, and it comes in like a freaking shoebox, and you're like, I only ordered a mug. What is? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
you must know this.
I mean, to be honest, I probably order so much stuff that it will fill any box that they send it to me in. But no, it's more about the size of the products in their warehouse. It's not a new thing in the world of logistics and freight forwarding to do things based on dimension, but it's a new introduction that Amazon brought in last year for oversized stuff, and in 2023 for other products as well. So that's one of the benefits of, if you're working with an accountant who keeps up to date with what Amazon are doing, you're going to get much better help with forecasting numbers.
#work with Sarah.
Yeah, Fruitful.
I can say it and you can't. Like if you say work with me, you look like a douche. But if I say it, it's okay.
Me or someone like me.
No, they're not on the show. Well, if they're on the show, I'll say them, but they're not on the show. So right now, it's just you. That's
okay.
Yeah. What was I going to say? First of all, I'm really glad you said what you said about keeping up to date with Amazon and the complexity involved, because I think there is a lot of fear in the accounting space and other industries that AI is going to remove the human element of doing our jobs. And in fact, what you just explained, it does require a human oversight to understand the placement of those transactions and understanding other complexities, not just data in, data out. Computers have been doing that for years, but it does require someone's knowledge. And, for example, I've said this before, not all accountants are equal. Kind of like lawyers, you can't know everything about accountancy because you're just one person. So when you do specialize, that's why people pay you or a bookkeeper to do the work. And I just want to highlight that again because I think it's very important. So, I also had another point, but I've completely forgotten because I started talking, if I'm honest. Let's go back to the comments. Darren, you're always saving me, man. You literally put comments in just as I start flagging, so thank you, man. That's why you work with an expert. Correctamundo. Thanks, Darren. Randy House. Sorry.
No.
Do you want to read out Randy's comment, by the way? Because I do all the reading. So.
Okay. ... Sarah, Dale, and everyone else, have a blessed day. You too, Randy.
Oh yeah, he's like is he California? He's in America somewhere, like a different time zone. So yeah, he's either waking up and going to work, or going to bed, one of the two. No, they're behind us, waking up.
They are behind us.
They're behind us. What was I going to ask you? I'm annoyed. I thought it was going to be a really good question, and I've forgotten it.
Yeah, I mean, AI is good. AI is, well, is it good? I don't know ultimately, but for Amazon sellers, AI has presented a lot of opportunities for helping with things like writing listings, analyzing listings of competitors. There's so much that it can be doing, but it can't. You can't. When we do tax returns, even as accountants, we have to sort of say to our clients, ultimately, you are responsible for your tax figures. I can calculate them and I'm professionally competent to do it, but ultimately the responsibility, you can't delegate the responsibility to someone else. And you're never going to be able to delegate the responsibility for getting your numbers to correct to AI either. So I love the software, I love the technology, and I do use AI. I chatted with ChatGPT this morning, although version 3.5, because I don't pay for it. And I run a lot of Amazon questions and VAT questions and things by it, because I want to understand what kind of answers would it be giving to other Amazon sellers who are querying this. And to be honest, it just doesn't know the tax implications at all. It hasn't got any VAT or any tax right. It's got a really good understanding of things like what APIs does Amazon have, and what kind of European fulfillment network, the pan-European model, Central European model. It can do all of that piece of how to sell on Amazon, but the finance, the bookkeeping, and the VAT, it's not technical enough.
Yeah, and I think that's where the technical aspect of bookkeeping and accounting comes in, because you can have two people earning the same from Amazon, but if one has a PAYE job and is a high rate tax earner and the other one isn't, and the other one's got 5 kids and the other one's got 2, all these different things about their personal lives make a massive difference on tax liabilities and all that kind of stuff, right? So I don't think AI can process that yet.
I mean, that's stuff that you layer on top of the Amazon, which is complicated enough in itself, and then you layer on the personal circumstances as well, which is something else that I'm really interested in, because I was saying Amazon sellers, they're a specific breed of people. They're very, very entrepreneurial. They're very driven. A lot of them will be thinking about, okay, how many other passive income streams can I create? I mean, Amazon is not that passive, but some of the private label people can create a bit of a passive income stream out of it. So whenever I first talk to sellers, my questions will always include, have you got any other investments? Are you investing in property? Are you investing in cryptocurrency? Because HMRC don't see it as a currency. And I think a lot of people still don't realize that. But it's very common for Amazon sellers to want to go down those routes as well. So there's lots of other things to tag
I thought the question I wanted to ask you, because you've made this Amazon selling thing sound amazing, because I like pipelines of income. How can I start? Where do I start?
The best way to start, honestly, is to do a course in how to do it. Because if you try and, I don't know if you've ever used eBay before. Set up an account on eBay, you list something, you can kind of just follow through the steps. You'll do it, you'll list it, and you'll sell it.
Yep.
If you try and sell on Amazon without having studied it in detail, and I mean hours and hours of study, you will mess up. And they will deactivate your account, and they know your IP number. So it doesn't matter what email address you've used from that particular computer and your Wi-Fi network, you won't be able to set up another account. So if you set up an account, for example, as an individual, because you've got 6 options when you go to register as a seller on Amazon, first thing you're presented with is, what are you? Are you a charity? Are you state-owned? Are you an individual? Are you a sole trader? Are you a private company, a public company? And if you pick individual, there's nothing to tell you this, but Amazon think that you're doing it as a hobby with no intention of making profit. And as soon as you start to make a profit and you've told them you're an individual, they'll kick you off. Game over. So and that's step 1. That's where you've gone wrong at step 1. And then later on, I mean, pretty quickly as well, you need to tell them whether or not you're VAT registered. Because if you're not VAT registered, all the fees they charge you from Luxembourg, they shouldn't be applying VAT on. And their default position is that they will. And if you are VAT registered, they should be reverse charging the VAT on those Luxembourg fees. And they won't. So, you can't, I would say to anyone, it is really fun. It takes up a lot of time. You need a support network, and you need to be with people who've already done it or who are doing it, so that you don't fall foul of the rules. And even if you stick by all the rules, Amazon can still deactivate your account for a laugh.
I mean, that's probably not funny, but sure.
And it's absolutely not funny when you're relying on that as a serious stream of income, because, you know, there's people making tens of thousands of pounds a month through sales on Amazon. And if Amazon deactivate your account because you've changed your address when you've got an Amazon loan, and that's not okay. You've changed from a sole trader to a limited company, and Amazon weren't happy with you doing that either.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not good.
That sounds terrible.
Have I put you off now?
Yes. That sounds like I feel like I could work harder at something else and get more return on investment with more stability. Like I'm not afraid of working hard, don't get me wrong, but that just sounds like a lot of transient stuff that I can't control.
Yeah, so Amazon is complex. So I always, and I think I know the Go Proposal team use this distinction as well. So the bookkeeping and the VAT is complicated. There are a lot of rules to understand to be able to apply it correctly. But Amazon is complex. It is a marketplace that you can't fully understand with logic and reasoning. You will be thrown curveballs that you weren't expecting. And so you need a team of people around you who are going through that journey with you, or who are, you know, a few stages ahead of you to support you. But wow. It is fun, and it is a roller coaster way of making money. And I love working with the people who want to do that. I've decided that I'm far too sensible, and having had to go and dip my toes in, I want to do the tax and accounting, sprinkle that stuff on top, because for me, that's a more sensible way of earning money. I've got a lot more experience of doing that. But yeah.
Cool. I'm going to dip into the comments again. So sorry, slight delay from Darren. He's talking about AI. Darren Granville, AI presents so much opportunity. Yes, it can and will, does a lot of heavy transactional review, but will always need to be checked, audited, and interpreted back to the business owner by a human, presumably. Did I give him a shout out, by the way? He's my first Patreon subscriber, by the way. Thank you, Darren, for the support. Putting his money where his mouth is. Thank you.
That's good. Yeah, I agree completely. You need to know, when you're doing tax, you need to know the legislation and the cases that support the decisions that you're taking. And then you've got the HMRC manuals, which provide guidance as well, but they are not the law.
And this is why I'm not an accountant. It's too much effort. It's so hard. So hard.
It is. But that's why I'm so niche. I'm so niche because it's so important that I get it right. And I know the complexities that are involved in, you know, working with Amazon sellers. So it takes up all my time and more to stay up to date and make sure I'm doing a good job of that. And there's enough of them, which is what I said at the beginning. There's loads of them. Semi-personal
question for you. Don't have to answer because it might be commercially sensitive. Do you have plans to stay solo, or you've got plans for world domination, or somewhere in between?
Possibly somewhere in between. I flick between the two. I think for me, the most important thing, and this has definitely come out in the last 5 years, is my priorities are, you know, to my husband and to my children first and above everything. If building a business that's got a team that can support my clients enables me to be able to switch off sometimes and be with my family when they need me, because I've got a competent team of people who can deliver to clients, then there'll be a team. I'm not really planning on world domination. I just want to be able to create that balance. So we'll see. But it's early days. It's early days in my business, and my children are still really young. So I'm expecting to have more time to work on this in the future. And also to grow with my clients, because Amazon sellers generally, they either fail or they scale quite fast. You know, they'll go from turning over 10 grand you can do 10 grand in like 2-3 weeks turnover sales.
Wow.
But you can get to the VAT threshold within your first year very easily, and then you'll be at £1 million, maybe even 2 to 3 years. And often they want to go from the UK to Europe to America. Yeah, so I'll scale and support them. But I'm very focused that I'm just going to do the UK element, because that is complicated enough. But LinkedIn has been really, really helpful in putting me in touch and enabling me to find people who specialize in all the other bits that Amazon UK sellers need. that I don't do. So I've got a great network now to support my clients.
Cool.
Serious answer.
That was a really good answer. Thank you. First of all, thank you very much for joining me. I'm gonna wrap this up because it's lunchtime. I'm kind of hungry.
You've not eaten today.
Yeah. So, do you have any kind of first of all any questions for me? Second of all, any nuggets or gems of wisdom you just kind of want to drop and leave? Boom.
Questions for you. Can you freestyle rap?
No.
Oh man. Have you ever had a podium finish at go-karting?
Yes.
Have you? That's good. I've come fourth about 3 times and it really bugs me. But okay, if you were having, okay, we don't live anywhere near each other and I'm possibly never going to meet you. So this is just an imaginary scene in my head. If we were on a fun night out for you, what are you eating? What are you drinking? And what music's going to get you on the dance floor?
What am I eating? Oh, that's a really hard question to ask because I love so many different foods. So we're talking like cuisine, so styles.
Yeah, plan a good night out. What are you eating? What are you drinking?
If we're hanging out, right? Just hanging out. Are we in London or are we somewhere else?
You can be in London.
Nah, it's not good. London's really expensive. All right, so no, I said like so it would be somewhere like Bodine's in Soho, so that's a good barbecue spot. Not stupidly expensive for London. They do really good brisket and they do good burgers and sausages, so really good. And then because you're in Soho, there's just like the stuff to do. What will get me on the dance floor? What am I drinking? If I'm drinking alcohol, it's usually gin and tonic. I do like beer, but it's too gaseous.
Yeah.
But I do like the way it tastes. I'm actually taking a break from drinking at the moment, so there's that. And then on the dance floor, I don't know the name of the track, but it's
Sing it.
Bear with me. So many people do like the electric slide to it. Hold on, I'm gonna do a little googling. It's Candy by Cameo. Loads of people, I don't know where it came from, but they do like the electric slide to that. And electric slide's like a really easy line dancing type dealy thing. When that track comes on, like I'll be out with my family, I'll be hanging with my sister, whatever. We'll come on and be like boom, 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 Candy. Yeah, we like proper dance to that. Yeah. Like yeah. So that anytime that plays, I'm on the dance floor.
You're on the dance floor. Good. Cool.
Yeah.
That sounds all right. Okay, last question for you then, because I'm conscious of time and that you need to eat. I know you play the guitar, right?
Mm-hmm.
What instrument would you play that you can't play at the moment? So what would you love to be able to play?
Piano.
Piano, okay.
I dabble in it, but I'd love to actually be able to play piano because I love the idea of playing the rhythm and the melody at the same time, which you can do on guitar, but it's a bit but no, piano's just like it's an instrument that can just do so much. It's so diverse. So love piano.
Good shout.
Cool. Any more questions or any gems or nuggets you want to drop before I hit end the broadcast?
I don't think so. I think I probably convinced everyone that Amazon is either very, very fun or very, very terrifying to have.
Definitely the latter. Like, you've not convinced me. Like initially, I was like, "Oh yeah, pipeline of income sounds real good," and you're like, "No, you've got to work really, really hard, and Amazon can take it away for no reason." I'm like, solve that.
Oh, maybe that was the wrong angle, but it is honestly really fun. But yeah, you need to be serious about it. Cool. Or maybe do it while you're doing something else. But anyway, thank you so much. It's been awesome to chat to you.
Likewise.
Wishing you all the best.
Oh, are you at Cantex next week?
I wish I was. And I wish I was at DAS as well, the Digital Accountancy Show. But honestly, the only one I can make is Accounting Web Live Expo in November at the NEC, 15th and 16th of November. If anyone's going, I will be walking around in bright orange. You can't miss me. Well, I'd say you can't miss me. You can miss me because I look a lot like Dext. But yeah.
Cool. I'm going to hit end broadcast. It takes 2 seconds to like turn off, so please smile after I hit it. Otherwise, you get like a funny, freeze frame face.
Okay.
Thanks to everyone who watched. Debbie, Patty O'Neill, Kofi. Sorry I didn't get to all your comments, but
I'm going to go check out Kofi's website now.
Honestly, it's dope. And just his YouTube stories. Sorry. Ending broadcast now. Thank you, everybody. Stay gangster.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.